4 years ago, 5 years ago now, I'm sure that y'all remember the Express News series that dealt with the issues at our animal care services facility. At the time, I was the city councilman for District 7, and I, at that time, put forward, or sponsored the first 2 town hall forums on our animal care issues. Some of y'all may remember that, especially the one that we had at St. Mary's University. It was a very charged environment, very emotional, and justifiably so. I have said that throughout this campaign that the great challenge for San Antonio is to continue to grow and prosper in every single way that a city can grow and prosper. And also, even as we get bigger and as we prosper, to retain our fundamental character and sense of community, and sense of neighborliness. And I believe that going forward, one of the ways that we're going to measure our compassion and our progress as a city is not only by how well our people do, because I've said that we need to invest not just in projects but in people, but also in how we treat our animals, and specifically how well we continue to move forward toward the goal of no kill. I'm sure we're going to discuss that at length tonight. That may or may not be achievable by 2012, but I believe that we need to work as hard as we possibly can to achieve it. That means in the allocation of resources, in the energy and effort that is put forward by city staff and by the elected officials, and by the way that we work with our nonprofits, with the county, and with everyone else who is willing to work on the issue to try to achieve those goals. So thank you all very much for having us, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you all for having me also. It's an honor to be with you this evening, and I know that the folks that were invited care a great deal about the issues that we're going to talk about this evening. I'm Diane Cibrian, and I'm a member of the City Council. I have worked very hard alongside Mayor Phil Hardberger to move forward real progress for the city of San Antonio. And I'm running for mayor because I get things done. I fundamentally believe that we must move forward and do all that we can to accomplish our no-kill goal by 2012. I am deeply committed to this goal, and as a member of the City Council, I've worked very hard to move it forward. One of the critical problems that we've had in San Antonio is that for far too long, the city did nothing. They literally did nothing to address one of the most serious issues facing this community. But we didn't have a no-kill goal in place, and very little funding was actually in place to deal with this issue. In fact, I was going over some of my notes, and I realized that the ACS budget has nearly doubled over the last 3 years. I'm very proud to have been part of the City Council that actually moved. We're now funding ACS by almost $9 million right now. And we need to make sure that going forward, that we keep the funding in place that we need for animal care services. You will see our budget numbers speak for themselves. I believe the 3 critical issues facing animal care services and our future as a community deal with education, enforcement, and a community partnership. We know that in education, our council has moved forward, ought to adopt, Own Up San Antonio, the very first educational program in the history of the city to deal with the issues we have with pet ownership. It's very clear, I think we all know in this room, we need a paradigm shift in our community. We need for neighborhoods and individuals and pet owners to think differently about pet ownership in the city of San Antonio.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here. And thank you all for the work that you do day in and day out to address the problem that we have here. You know, whether it's the overpopulation of animals that we have here, animal abuse issues that we have here, spay and neuter programs that we're desperately in need of increasing. We meet with homeowners associations on a nightly basis. When we're talking about the fact that the number of forums that we have, we're probably up to 55 or 60. But probably the number one question that comes out of the homeowners associations is, what are we going to do about the overpopulation of pets? What are we going to do about the stray pets that are running the neighborhoods? You know, in my book, it comes down to stricter enforcement. We've done a good job of putting more teeth into the programs that we have in place, but there's no question that we're going to have to do more. more associated with outreach in the neighborhoods. We need to look at more mobile spay-neuter programs. We need to have conversations with veterinarians across the city about becoming involved in those sorts of programs. And we need to make sure that we're reaching children at a very early age as far as education is concerned, so that we establish a culture of basic responsibility for owning a pet. You know, I'm born, raised, and educated here. Throughout my lifetime and growing up with 5 older brothers and sisters, we had an array of pets. You know, whether we had cats or whether we had dogs. I mean, typically we had 2 and 3 dogs, or we had 2 and 3 cats. You know, usually each of the children in the family had a pet or dog. But we were taught that we needed to care for that pet. You know, my parents made sure that that cat or that dog was spayed or neutered, that they had their shots, you know, that they had their tags, you know, that we were walking them on leashes when they ran around the neighborhoods. And like I said, we need to create an environment that really fosters more pet responsibility in this community. As somebody who had a Labrador Retriever, a 13-year-old Labrador Retriever that we had to put to sleep. Of all days, we had to put it to sleep on Christmas, you know, which was a real tragedy as far as the family was.
Thank you and good evening. It is a pleasure to be here this evening. I want to thank you for having us this evening and for your passion and for your interest in animals in San Antonio. I am a native of the city of San Antonio. I've grown up and was educated right here in San Antonio. I am a 2-term council member. I have been at City Hall for the last 8 years, and I've had the pleasure of being involved in a lot of very important issues over the last 8 years as a council aide and as a council member. And all the issues that all the important things that we do at City Hall, this issue has risen to the top of our agenda. And the reason that is because of individuals like you, who have come to us, who have told us what it is we need to do as a city, who have been very proactive in letting your voice be heard, and we appreciate that. I have learned, now I have to admit, I'm not an animal care expert, but I have learned so much from the testimony that many of the citizens of San Antonio have come to the City Council and given us so that we can learn and understand what it is you think we need to do as a city to improve animal care services in San Antonio. So I want to thank all of you who have been involved in this effort for so long. It is an evolving effort down at City Hall. I think we've made strides when it comes to addressing the issue. Building a new facility. This facility is a beautiful facility. Having a facility and a resource here like Humane Society, who does extraordinary work in this community, has been what has helped us to be able to meet the goals that we've met already. We've got a lot more goals to reach. We have, when we think we have the answer, we find out that there's something more we need to do, and we want to continue to learn from you. Continue to get the answer to what it is we need to do here in San Antonio. So I am very actively, interested in what your thoughts are. I grew up in a home. My mother was an extraordinary animal lover. We had fish, we had chickens, any animal she could find, she would bring it home. And we grew up with a variety of animals in our home as a child. And so I've had a little experience as a child growing up taking care of animals, and I see and I understand your passion for animal services. So I want to be an advocate for you at City Hall if I'm elected mayor. Continue to see what it is we need to do as a community to improve animal care services in our community. But I have to admit, remember growing up on the east side, and you walk up and down the street, and there were stray dogs everywhere. But I can walk down the street, a lot of streets now, and not see as many stray dogs, and that's because of your voice coming to us telling us we need to clean this up. And then we took action and made sure we invested in those resources that we needed to make sure we address the issue. So we're making stride, and I really honestly believe this is because of you. And we want to continue to do better. So I look forward to your questions and look forward to the engagement of the questions that you have for us tonight.